Good morning, everyone. I don't know, we were kibitzing back there. I don't know if you heard us laughing and joking amongst ourselves. One of the things I love about church life is that hubbub before a service begins. It just fills my heart with such joy to hear people connecting in the way that you connect here. I am the Reverend Samaya Oakley, and my pronouns are she and hers. And it is an honor to be here with you this morning, especially in these times when we are called to deepen our connections and to face the challenges out there in the world with courage. Here at Calgary Unitarians, we gather to explore our liberal faith, to live our shared principles, to ask questions that help us grow in wisdom and deepen our relationships, and to act for a just and sustainable world. How many people recognize that as our mission statement? You see, because here in this space, we do not gather because we have all of the answers. We gather because we are committed to learning together, to listening deeply, and to shaping a future guided by care and connection. We're a misfit, diverse group of people who welcome you all. Whatever your ethnicity, theological belief, gender, sexual orientation, age, or any other part of who you are that makes you who you are warmly welcomed into this space. Because I find that it's in our diversity that we find our strength. In our gatherings, we cultivate belonging, care, and attention to one another. And so, as we begin today, as we do each Sunday, we pause to honor the land on which we meet. The traditional and ancestral territories of the Niitsitapi, the Iahota Nakota, and the Tsuut'ina peoples, and the homeland of the Otipemisiwak Métis government of Alberta, Districts 5 and 6. I do my best, and I fail at times, to remember that this land has always been alive. Alive with teaching, alive with life, and with sacred presence. And if I pause, I can feel it in the flow of the rivers as I go for a walk. I can feel it in the strengths of the foothills, in the whisper of the wind, and in the vast openness of the prairies. And it's in those moments that I notice how it calls me to pay attention, to slow down, to see the patterns of connection that weave through everything. So I invite myself and I invite all of you to join me to open our eyes and our hearts to see the world, to see each other through a lens of care, curiosity, and respect. May we open our hearts today to one another, to ourselves, and to the world around us. And may this time together help us notice the sacred in ordinary moments and in each other. We're glad to have you with us this morning. Welcome.
Opening song today is This Joy by Shirley Caesar. I invite you to rise in body or spirit as we sing together. 1, 2, 3.
Joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away.
I must have grown. We're now going to light our chalice to find inner peace, love for each other, and faith in ourselves. We strive to be welcoming to whomever we meet and kind to all living creatures. So gather around this light of hope as we share this time together.
Well, I can't do anything about it. Come on. Probably just zoom outputting.
I know.
Well, you can't hear it from the laptop.
All right.
either.
I've got a lion and a fish.
Speaker.
Who wants to be a lion or a
Key
fish?
adapter.
Lion
I mean, the volumes are way
and a
up.
fish.
Yeah, well, I turned them up.
Oh, we got a gorilla and a shark. Come on,
sound
is there a few adults who could be animals for me?
Earlier.
Fish? Fish? What do you want to be? Gorilla, shark? Okay. I mean, okay, you could actually pick your animal. Here.
Key adapter.
Come, I need
Find
another
this.
adult volunteer. Wow! Samaya, will you be an animal? Okay. Whatever. I'll modify this story. Yeah. Rawr. Okay! I'm gonna be the giraffe. Because I can put the giraffe in my hair, I think. Is that giraffe staying in my hair, okay? Okay, it might fall out. That's okay. Okay, so we have a book today
That mic should be
called
off or on.
Old Turtle and the Broken
Oh.
Truth. And Douglas Wood is very interesting because he originally wrote a book called Old Turtle. And then later, he wrote Old Turtle and the Broken Truth. I think he became a Unitarian in between. And so I'm going to read this book. And I'm going to sit on a giraffe. That's okay. No, the giraffe is going to sit on me. And so if I do this, can people see the book? People can see. I apologize. It has extremely beautiful illustrations, and we don't have slides today. But you can imagine all of yourselves as either a turtle or a child, unless, of course, you're an animal. Yeah. All right. So this is dedicated to all who seek truths and who listen to the languages of breezes and turtles. Once, in a beautiful, far-away land that was somehow not so very far, a land where every stone was a teacher and every breeze a language. Oh, it's boring. What would the gorilla say? What would the monkey say? He would say, every lake was a mirror. And then what sound would he make? Can we all make that sound? And every tree was a ladder to the stars. Can you pretend to climb to the stars? Can you climb to the stars? And into this far, lovely land there fell a truth. Maybe the truth was half of a giraffe. It streaked down from the stars, trailing a tail as long as the sky. Who has a tail? Can you show me your tail? Can you show me your star tail? But as it fell, as things often do when they fall, what happens when things fall? It broke. It broke. And one of the pieces blazed off through the night sky, and the other fell to earth in this beautiful world. What do you think happened to the piece that broke off? In the morning, A crow found the piece. What does a crow say? A crow says, caw, caw, caw. And it seemed so awesome and shiny, and the crow was so pleased. And the crow said, this is a lovely truth. I'm going to put it in my hair. And he carried it away, and he held the truth for a very long time. But eventually, the truth didn't feel quite right. This is only part of a truth. Why? Because what happened as it fell? It shattered, it broke. I'm going to look for a whole truth. And so other creatures who like shiny things soon noticed the truth as well. Fish and monkeys and lions and rhinoceroses, they all picked it up in turn. And what do you think of the truth when you saw it? Roar! It's very shiny. But eventually, can we all roar together like a lion? Roar! But eventually, it didn't feel like a whole truth. And lion said, roar! I'm going to find a whole truth. And then the truth fell into the water. Ploosh! And the goldfish picked it up. And the goldfish swam, and it carried the truth on its back, and it was shiny, and it sparkled in the water. But eventually, the fish got a bit tired and was like, I don't think this is the whole truth. I think this is just part of the truth. And yes, I'm not reading the words. And so the fish let the truth float away. And you know who else swims in water aside from fish? Oh, yeah, but we have 2 rhinoceroses over here. Did you know that? that rhinoceroses are really good swimmers, and they swam. Can you swim like a rhino? Can you swim like? And they also have very scary, powerful jaws, and they swallowed the truth. Did it feel good to have the truth inside you?
Yes.
Yes. Did it feel shiny?
Yes.
Did it feel whole?
No.
At first?
Yes.
And what? We've got very good story coaches going on here. And then eventually?
No.
And so the rhinoceros exited the truth from its body after swallowing it and let the truth go. Plop! Plop! And then a man found the truth. The man, he was walking very slowly, listening to breezes, and gazing at the wonderful sacred beauties above and below. He was very contemplative, and he held it very carefully. It was probably washed by the water at this point, thinking it was the loveliest thing in the world. It was shiny. He tucked the broken truth into a safe place, and he kept it. And sometimes he'd take it out, and he would admire it. What a lovely giraffe. Giraffes have a lot of truth to them, don't they? And the truth sparkled just for him. I love going to the zoo and drawing giraffes. They have the biggest eyes. Did you know that giraffes have the same amount of bones in their necks as we do? How many vertebrae is that? Any of the kids at the back know how many vertebrae giraffes have in their necks? 7. They're just huge. They're just absolutely huge. So the giraffe whispered messages for him alone. And the man thought he'd never felt so happy and so proud. The man took the wonderful truth to his people, those who lived with him, who spoke as he spoke, and dressed as he dressed, whose faces looked just like his. There's a resemblance, isn't there? I always wanted to be a giraffe. And together, they cherished their new found truth, and they believed it. They hugged it to themselves, and it became their most important possession. But after a while, the man did not hear the languages of the breeze and stones. He did not see the rhinoceroses. He did not roar like a lion. Can we all roar like a lion? Roar! He did not swim like a fish. They did not see the mirrored beauty in the lakes or the ladders to the stars, but only saw their own sparkling giraffe. And for them, it was enough. And they called the giraffe the truth. This is my truth. It's not broken. Yeah. The truth made people feel good and proud and strong, but they also began to feel fear and anger for everything that was not giraffes. They were not like themselves. They did not share their truth. The giraffes did not look down benevolently. I mean, at the zoo, come on. The giraffes and the rhinoceros are in the same compound, but they did not look at each other. The other beings of the other land seemed less and less important. And the languages of the breezes was hardly heard anymore. And time passed, and people began to shout and get angry and say, rhinoceroses are not real. Giraffes are not real. They don't have any truth. Right, they don't. Seriously, only I have the truth. So many battles were fought, and broken truth was won and lost. The stones and the trees suffered. The breezes and the waters suffered, the animals, but most of all, the people suffered. Finally, the animals went to Old Turtle, ancient and wise as the mountains and seas and selves. The goldfish went to Old Turtle, and what did the goldfish say, baby? The goldfish said, this is the truth. This is the giraffe that people quarrel over. They have held it for themselves. It is broken. It does not work. We tried it. Please tell the people. I am sorry, answered Old Turtle, but the people will not listen. They are not ready. And so the suffering continued. Until one day, a little girl came, and a little boy came to find Old Turtle. They had traveled very far, had crossed the mountains of imagining, the river of wondering why. They'd found their way to the forest of finding out. And when they'd grown tired, she'd ridden on the backs of animals and the wings of fish or birds, as it may be. And finally, they came to the great hill at the very center of the world. And from there, the little child thought she had never seen so much beauty. But when she saw Old Turtle, she could hardly speak. She simply looked with eyes full of wonder, like I look into the eyes of the giraffe at the zoo. Do you have a favorite animal at the zoo? Do you? A hippo, right? Right. Similar to the rhinoceros, but different. Why have you come so far to find me, little one? Asked the turtle. Her voice rumbled like faraway thunder, but was soft as the breeze through a caterpillar's whiskers. I wanted to ask a question, they answered. Where I live, the earth is sore and people are suffering. Battles are fought. People say it's been this way and will never change. Can it change, Old Turtle? Can we make it change? What do you think Old Turtle said? What do you think? Old Turtle spoke. The world you describe is not the way the world has always been, little one. And then he told of how people had found the broken giraffe and suffering it has caused because it is so close to a great whole truth that it is such beauty that the people love it so, said Old Turtle. It is the last portion of that broken truth that the people need if the world is to be made whole again. But where is the peace? Said the little girl, little boy. Where is it? Where can we find it? Can we find it? What do you think? Can we find it? First, my child, said Old Turtle, remember that there are truths all around us and within us. They twinkle in the night sky. Can you twinkle like a star? Twinkle, twinkle, little star. And they bloom like the flowers of the earth. They fall upon us every day, silent as snow and gentle as rain. And the people, clutching their one truth, forget that it is part of all the lovely, small, little, tiny truths of life. They no longer see them. But perhaps, little one, you can. And what did the little girl say? Do you think the little boy wanted to help? What did they say? They said, I'll try. And they thought of their long journey and all the beauty surrounding her. They saw the movement of the clouds and the birds and the fish and the roar of the lions and the clump of the rhinoceroses and the beauty of the giraffe's eyes. And gradually, a feeling came over her as though the world were made of these truths, as if they'd been made just for them, and they had been made for it. And they looked once again at Old Turtle, their eyes more filled with wonder than they'd ever been. And Old Turtle spoke again. Remember this: the broken truth and life itself will be mended only when one person meets another, someone from a different place with a different face or different ways, and sees and hears themselves. Only then will the people know that every person, every being is important, and the world was made for each of us. And for a long time, 5 seconds, the two friends were quiet. And their hearts filled with wonder as they thought of the people of the lands, the people with their own ways, different from themselves, but still somehow the people. And finally, they asked one more question. Old Turtle, how will people learn these things? By seeking out those small and simple truths like Reverend Samaya was talking about, all around them. By listening to the language of breezes and stones and animals and the roar of the lions, and the swim of the fish. Now it's time for you to go and return this to the people. So she took the broken truth with them, and they looked at Old Turtle. It was some kind of mysterious, beautiful stone. It was lovely to touch, and it made them feel good. And they squeezed it tightly and tucked it away. Thank you, Old Turtle. And the two friends hugged. And then she started for home. And once more, she traveled through the forest of finding out, the river of wondering why, and she crossed the mountains of imagining. It was a long journey, but then she was home. The people did not recognize them. She tried to tell them, but they could not catch their meaning. Finally, Crow, remember Crow at the beginning? Crow says, caw, caw, saw what was happening, that they were still fighting, and Crow flew to the top of the tower. He cawed and cawed in his loudest voice at the shiny thing at the top of the tower. And suddenly the child knew what to do. They climbed and climbed. She took the stone that Old Turtle had given her from her pocket and carefully added the missing piece to the broken one. And the fit was perfect. And it said, the broken truth said, you are loved. And the missing piece said, and so are they.
And we are done. Thank
Right.
you so much.
Yeah. Okay. Are the animals back?
Circles of love, circles of love.
it's fitting today that our 4 others this month is In From the Cold. And In From the Cold helps us see those people out in the cold through new eyes. In From the Cold uses a trauma-informed and housing-first principle to support families in finding stability during times of crisis. They use 3 main programs: homelessness prevention and diversion, emergency family shelter, and supportive housing. If this is where you'd like to direct your offering, please indicate for others in the memo line of the envelope in your on the envelope, and then if you're e-transferring, put it in the memo for others. First-time visitors, just let the basket go by you. We're just so grateful to have you with us. That's the gift you bring. After the basket has passed you by, you can come forward to either side and to the front to light a candle for your own personal prayers and prayers for communities. Put a pebble in the water. And so we will start. We'll take an offering that allows us to exercise that all-important generosity of spirit, an offering that will support this self-supporting church and its many ministries. The gifts of the congregation will now be gratefully received. A reflection on seeing through the lens of the sacred. When Robert and I lived in Vancouver, I volunteered for a time with a Unitarian street minister and social worker, Laura Imayoshi. She worked in Vancouver's downtown east side, the oldest part of the city, with the highest density of poverty and social illnesses in the entire country. Laura had appealed to the Unitarian Church of Vancouver, to the congregation for volunteers. I recklessly raised my hand. The downtown east side isn't hidden from view. Hastings Street is a well-used road connecting Vancouver to Burnaby, and it runs right through the downtown east side. Vancouverites drive through it frequently, mostly fearfully. I found it depressing, a little scary and a whole lot depressing. People hunkered up against decrepit old buildings is what I saw. Addicts staggering under the influence, sex workers plying their trade. It always made me sad. So when Laura called me about volunteering down there, I told her I'd changed my mind. I just couldn't imagine working in such a depressing environment. Come once, just for an afternoon, she said, and then if you still feel that way, I won't pressure you to keep coming. At the corner of Hastings and Main sits the grand old Carnegie Library building, converted in the 1980s to a community center, and it was known as the living room of the downtown east side. At the time Laura worked there, it was a place where people could come in off the street, use a bathroom, access various social services. On Wednesday afternoons, it was reserved for women. Nursing volunteers offered female health care. Starbucks brought day-old pastries. We had coffee on, and Laura provided one-on-one counseling, including drug-free kits, not the drugs, just the hygienic and safe paraphernalia. When I arrived, she led me to a large table where beads and beading supplies were spread out. And my job was just to sit and bead. Talk to anyone who wanted to talk, but otherwise just be a quiet presence. I looked gingerly at the chair and the tabletop, wondering what germs might be lurking there waiting to attack me, but I gritted my teeth and sat down and started threading beads. Over the 4 hours I was there, women came and went to my table. They didn't talk to me much, but they did talk to each other. One conversation I particularly remember went like this. I thought you were in rehab. I was. I couldn't stand it. I scampered this morning. Well, you'd better go back. You chose rehab over jail time. Rehab's better than jail, I can tell you. You can still probably go back if you do it today. In my naivety, I was surprised. First, that they knew each other. Then, that they cared about each other. This woman cared. At the end of my shift in my debrief with Laura, I asked her about some of the intriguing women I had met that day. How many daughters does Marie have? She says she lost another one today. I think she calls many girls her daughter, Laura said. Over the months I worked with Laura, instead of depression, I experienced a resurgence of hope. I didn't dread my shift. I looked forward to it. I went from worrying about germs jumping onto me to what germs I might be bringing to these most vulnerable women and children. I added another shift at another of Laura's locations, helping provide dinner to women and children once a week. These women inspired me, and I looked forward to my time with them. They showed me how to look at people in a new way. I learned to see the downtown east side through new eyes, through their eyes. This wasn't just the edge of Vancouver, just another beach with flotsam washed up on it. It was a community where people knew each other better than any of the so-called safe, civilized parts of the city, like Kitsilano, where I lived, and knew no one except my next-door neighbor, and then only casually. This was a real community, beset by problems, yes, but infused with a culture of care most of us never experience. Today, the Carnegie Community Center houses a branch of the public library, a gym, a cafeteria, social services, an adult learning center, a computer room, and a whole lot more. Thanks to people like Laura, who saw the downtown East Side through a spiritual lens and the lens of community.
So as we gather together, we remember that the sacred isn't just distant. It appears when we give one another our full attention, like those women did, listening without interrupting, without fixing, without judging. It's in these quiet moments that the world opens up. We see one another more clearly. And so we begin by lighting a candle for our joys, for moments that brighten our days, for laughter that surprises us, for connections that warm our hearts, and for the small wonders that abound. Today we celebrate with Michael Laboldus as he marks his retirement and all the other joys that you hold in your hearts. We light this candle for you. We also acknowledge all of the sorrows in life, for grief carried openly or quietly, for illness, loss, uncertainty. We hold in our hearts today Jen Allore, whose father passed last Monday. Marika Gibson, who we've missed as she tends to family matters. And Duff, recovering from hip surgery. And for one among us whose friend's son is struggling with addiction. By holding these sorrows together, we know that we are not alone. And we light this candle for you. And we light a candle for the wider world, for the more than 300 school children and teachers recently abducted from St. Mary's School in Niger State, Nigeria. Through the lens of the sacred, their suffering is not distant. It is part of our shared human story. And so we light a candle for those girls and teachers. After the service, you will find cards for Michael and Jen and Duff and Marika for you to sign. And you will also find Marcia, who was going to be selling tickets for carols and crafts, the carols portion. Those are part of our joys and our sorrows in this community. So I invite you to settle into your seat and allow your feet to rest fully on the ground. Take a slow breath in and a slow breath out. Let your shoulders soften, your jaw unclench. Let your breath find its own steady rhythm. Gently, if you can, bring a hand to your heart or your shoulder and feel the warmth of your own touch. Feel the steady pulse of life moving in you. This pulse is connected to everything. to the frost on the riverbank, to the Bow River flowing beneath, to the wind crossing the foothills. With each breath, notice that you are not separate, that you are part of a wider web, a wider living web. Let yourself rest in this truth that you belong, that you are connected, that you are part of something sacred. Take a slow breath in and a slow breath out. Let us enter 1 minute of silence. You know, there are those moments when the world seems to take a breath and it reminds us that it is alive. That moment of the sun, the snow on the bank as I take my walk. The magpie flashing its iridescent wings. A stranger holding open the door for you when your arms are full. That hush that settles into the room when you light your candle in these lengthening nights. None of these moments demand our attention or our reverence. They invite it. And today we accept that invitation. We turn to the question that this service poses. How does the lens of the sacred shape how you see the world? And to our year-long question of, what are we going to do together? These questions illuminate one another because how we see the world deeply shapes how we choose to live in the world. When many of us hear the word sacred, we imagine something distant or otherworldly. But Unitarian Universalism holds a broader understanding of that word. The sacred is not a far-off power. It is a quality of attention, a way of perceiving the world that honors connection and dignity, responsibility, beauty. To look through this lens is to slow down enough to notice that something more is happening, both within and around us. It is the difference between seeing a tree and seeing a being that breathes with you. Seeing a person and seeing a life with stories, pain, joy, worth. Between seeing a congregation and seeing a community capable of shaping a different path together. Here in Calgary, on the traditional and ancestral lands of the First Peoples, this question takes on a particular depth. Seeing through the sacred means viewing this land not just as a place that we live, but as a teacher. The rivers teaching us persistence. The prairie sky teaching us spaciousness. The wind teaching change. The foothills teaching transition. How to live between the past and the future. Our congregation's mural reminds us that we are called to be a catalyst for conversations and action on reconciliation, inviting us to notice the stories around us and to engage with care and courage. Indigenous knowledge keepers have long taught that sacredness emerges through relationship, in how we care for land, honor story, and tend to community. The sacred is not something we chase. It's a reality that we enter. Theologian Forrest Church wrote, "The cathedral of the world is vast. If creation is a cathedral, then sacred space appears in the everyday, in the grocery store, the kitchen table, the mirror. It is not found in those extraordinary moments, but in the ordinary ones that we choose to notice. It shows up when we keep our hearts open to someone's grief, when we act according to our values, even when it's inconvenient, when we imagine a different future and someone says, 'Let's imagine this together.' This is why the sacred matters. It is both deeply personal and inherently communal. So as we continue asking big questions about purpose and vision this year, we remember before any plan or commitment that there must be a shift in perception. We cannot build a future with yesterday's sight. We must learn to see differently. The lens of the sacred softens our hearts, widens our view, and reminds us that we are part of something much larger than ourselves. It invites curiosity, compassion, and courage. It reminds us that meaning is co-created. Seeing through the lens of the sacred is not an escape from the world's challenges. It's a deeper way of meeting them. What we do together will grow from how we choose to see together. Let us contemplate that as we hear from our choir, Euphonia. We have such a fabulous choir, don't we? So I've invited us to see the world differently. Now I'm going to ask us to feel it differently, to inhabit the sacred, not just notice it. So if you are willing, I invite you to place your hand gently on your arm, your thigh, your heart. Feel that pulse. Beneath skin and bone and muscle are the same building blocks that make up the stars. The elements that allow life on Earth: carbon, nitrogen, iron. They swirl through distant stars. Indigenous peoples on this land have known this truth, that everything is alive, everything has spirit. The apple, the water, the fire are kin, not just things. The building blocks of life pulse in our bodies and in the very earth herself, in the water, in the soil, in the trees, the mushrooms, yes, even the bugs that you don't like, the wind and the rain and the light. Some pagans' traditions say we all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return, like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. Our bodies are holy sites. Every living cell carries a spark of the same life that pulses throughout the world. It inspires awe, wonder, transcendence, a sense of connection to something much larger than who we are. The Dalai Lama reminds us that life is not about transcending the body. I love this. Life is not about transcending the body, but embodying the transcendent, bringing the sacred into every moment, perception, and relationship. Thoreau reminds us that only that day dawns to which we are awake. A moment becomes holy when our hearts, our minds, our spirits are present. Through the lens of the sacred, we see ourselves as threads of a larger tapestry. Every gesture of care, every act of courage ripples outward. We may not be able to transform the world in a single leap, but together, when we act, when we notice where life is stirring, when we notice when to offer care, when to build trust, we are able to imagine a future shaped by connection rather than separation. So the sacred is not distance, it's alive on the land, in our bodies, in our hearts, and in this congregation. It calls to us to respond. What we do together grows from what we see together. And so with these reflections gathered in our hearts, on the ways that we notice and care and act together, let us feel the land beneath our feet, the rivers flowing steadily, the foothills teaching transition. Let us carry the awareness and connection and the call to act with compassion and courage. And so may the light that found its way into a humble shelter long ago find its way into the shelter of our own making, our homes, our communities, and the quiet spaces between us and within us. May we go from this place remembering that every open door, every steady hand, every act of courage is a way that we bear love into this world. May we trust, even in uncertain times, that love is not just something that we feel, it's something that we practice, something that we build, something that guides us step by step. And as we prepare to lift our voices together, may we feel the truth of the hymn already rising in us, that love will guide us, peace has tried us, and hope will lead us home. Go in love, go in hope, and knowing that love journeys with you.
Our closing hymn is Love Will Guide Us, number 131. I invite you to rise in body or spirit here as we sing it together.
Thank you, Reverend Samaya. And thank everyone who made this service possible. I'm not going to read them out because we're slightly over time. Look on the back of your order of service and just see how many people it takes to put this together. And the kitchen person today is Liz, so we thank her especially. Because I'm a kitchen person and we're special. Okay, please, let's see where we are. Please be sure to join us next week. But in the meantime, we're going to close our chalice. You see, this is the thing. I know all of you can sit there and watch, but you can say to yourself, if Pam Rickey can do it, anyone can do it. Before we gather here again, may each of us bring happiness into another's life. May we each be surprised by the gifts that surround us. May each of us be enlivened by constant curiosity. And may we remain together in spirit till the hour we meet again. Catch it, grab it, and hold it. Share it.
Share when you go out in the world.
And as we go out, for those of us here, we can go out into Wickenden and have coffee and conversation. And we have a congregational meeting later on, 1:12 at noon, so come back in. Those of you on Zoom, there'll be a special link for you in the chat to go into a Zoom room together. Let's all say goodbye to Zoom. Thank you for being here, all of you people. And we're going to hear a lovely postlude. If you're ready to chat, go on out after Reverend Samaya leaves and chat away. If you decide to stay and listen to the postlude, just listen. Thank you, everybody.
Amen.